2, 1.
Welcome to Made for More Living.
One small step for man.
With Johnny Jennings.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
The fastest and most exciting hour of news, events, and real estate in Northern California.
And this is a fact that was proved.
Online at madeformorerealty.com.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Get ready. Here we go.
When I was about 10 years old, I remember my parents building a custom house. They went through this whole process. They picked out everything, and it was a total disaster. Like, the house ended up being, what they wanted, but it wasn't exactly what they wanted. It wasn't certainly the cost that they wanted, and I think it ended up going a bit of a legal route. And so ever since then, I'm like, I would never want to build a custom home just because of the horrible experience they have. But after meeting today's guest, I realized that's not necessarily the case with all custom home builders. And so on the show today is Paul Bianchi. But thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you, Johnny. Glad to be here.
So just a quick background on your story for people who don't know you, because you're a bit of a local legend. How did you get started in this industry?
Well, boy, I'll take you all the way back. So I got started as a kid watching my grandfather build homes and then my father build homes. So basically, I was born into the construction industry.
Wow, third generation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's incredible. And you're also a third. I'm a third.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. You don't run into many of us around. So You've been doing this for how long now?
I went to, right out of high school, I started going to college here locally, taking some business classes, and my dad just couldn't wait. He recruited me right out of college and put me right to work in his business.
Wow.
And I've been doing it a long time.
Long time. All right. And so what areas do you typically focus on?
Geographical areas?
Geographically, yes, sir. Yeah.
So geographically, we work in pretty much all of Northern California, and that goes all the way up to Truckee, South Lake Tahoe, all the way to the Bay Area. We currently have projects in San Francisco, Sonoma County, Brentwood, and of course the greater Sacramento market. We love this area.
It is a great area. Man, those are all some beautiful places to work in.
Oh, absolutely. And they have beautiful homes in those areas as well.
So when somebody is thinking about building a custom home, like, I know there's a lot of pitfalls, a lot of things to look out for, because most people, they're not third generation. They've been doing this, as long as they've been alive. What are some tips that you have in terms of picking a custom home builder?
That's a great question. I would say when you're picking a custom home builder, you want to work with a fairly larger established team. Sometimes people tend to pick the cheapest builder they can, and it's literally just one or two guys that are building one or two homes a year. But you want to pick a builder that has systems and processes to take you all the way from start to finish. And when I say start, that's from the discovery of what it is you want in a home, size of home, what types of rooms you're looking for, all the way to working with our interior designer. We have an online platform where the homeowner can log in and see the progress of their home, and we take them all the way to move in and furniture as well, if that's what they want.
That's incredible. I like the online aspect of it, because you can see probably the milestones, know what's coming next, what to expect.
Yeah, it's really important to be transparent with the home buyers throughout the process. And when they're able to log in and see every quote that comes in, they see the pricing, all the progress pictures. They don't have to go out to the job site if they don't want to, because the field superintendents are taking pictures and videos almost daily and uploading them into that portal.
Oh, that's incredible. Tons of transparency.
Absolutely.
And so when people are, thinking about building a custom home, I know you have some tips on how do you avoid making mistakes, because it seems like there's a right way to go about it and there's an expensive way to go about it. Like, what would you recommend?
Well, I recommend spending a fair amount of time in the design process. We like to go through every aspect of the home, the expectation of the homeowner, what it is they want that home to look like. We introduce our interior designer and exterior designer early on in the process, and then we have that client come in and meet with the architect directly. So by the time we're ready to start, we have a complete set of plans that meets their vision, meets their needs, and at that time we can put together a budget that is very close to what the actual cost of that home will be.
Okay. Yeah, that brings up like another question I have. Like, there's a couple different ways to bid the job, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
what is the best way so that with the fees, like the customer knows what to expect?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways. Generally, builders will go on a contract, either a cost plus. So let's say whatever it costs to build that house, you're going to pay that amount plus 12 to 15% above that cost. That's one way to go into it. But it leaves a lot of ambiguous thoughts for the client, because sometimes they think we're just going to use the most expensive framer so that we get more plus on that cost, which is not the case. And that's why we tend to get 2 to 3 bids for every one of our trades. And again, the homeowner can go right into the portal and see these bids and help choose the bid that they want. But of course, you got to remember, we're always looking at 3 things when we're putting a project out to bid. Cost, budget's important, but also quality, we want it to be good, and scheduling. If we commit to a certain amount of time that home is going to be built, we have to use subcontractors that can commit to all 3 of those strategies.
Got it. So they might do a quality job. They might be good on price, but they might not have the availability to get the work done. Absolutely.
Their crew might be too small, not enough members, and they just can't show up on time, can't get the job done on time. So we have to keep that in mind when we're choosing subcontractors.
Man, seems like juggling a lot of balls. So there's cost plus, and then what's another way to bid a job?
So the second way that people go on a contract is a fixed price. So by the time we get through the design process, we have a complete set of plans. We've picked out most of their interior design selections. We have it all on paper for them to look at, and then we'll apply a fixed price to that set of plans and fixtures. And we'll say it's going to cost X amount of dollars to build your home. We go into contract for that X amount of dollars. So once that process starts, we also explain to them several items on their budget are highlighted in blue. And those are allowances. So we might give them allowances for cabinets, allowances for tiles, allowances for light fixtures, allowances for plumbing fixtures, and we'll show them fixtures that fit those allowances. But it's the homeowner that can create their own change order. They simply can say, hey, we just went on vacation in Italy and we found some amazing floor tile. We would like you to ship it over and install it in our living room. So that's them going above their allowance. And we simply show them the difference between the agreed upon budget and allowance and now their new cost for the Italian flooring. And it's up to them to say, yes, let's go ahead and do that. And then they just pay the difference.
Got it. So sometimes, how do you handle it? Somebody who's building a house and they want a certain size bedroom. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh man, that might not be big enough, or that's too big. I'd like to use that space for something else. Is that the same process as a change order, or what does that look like?
Yes, absolutely. And that's a good question. So if it comes on early enough during the design process, we'll just make the change before the plans are completed. But let's say the plans are already approved, permit in hand, we've already started construction. And if they start making changes like that, we still say, okay, yes, we can make that change. Then we work up a new price and a new timeline, because generally changes like that will add weeks, if not months, to the build.
Got it. And when somebody is looking to build a custom home, do they typically come to you and they already have the lot, or are they trying to figure out the house first so they know what size lot to buy, or where they want that lot to be located based off the design? How does that typically look?
So we generally meet clients in all of those phases. Okay. So sometimes they've not purchased a lot and we help them locate the best lot. We will walk the lot before they put an offer on it, make sure it's buildable. We like to work with a client at that point. But sometimes they show up and they already have a lot. So one of the first things we do is we go walk the lot and try and get them a pretty good estimate of what it's going to cost to grade that lot. So if the lot is flat, obviously there's not going to be a lot of grading. But if the lot is sloped severely one way or the other, there's going to be grading and probably retaining walls. So we help work up that budget in the design process so they understand what their cost is going to be for that type of work.
Okay, so that way they just know up front, no surprises. Now, when I met with you with Tom a while back, you were actually showing us a project in I think it was in San Francisco, where it had been pre-permitted for a larger than what's now allowed. And just as we're talking right now, I was thinking that sounds more like was that just a bare lot, or was that going to be a remodel?
Yeah, that particular lot is empty.
Okay.
But it comes with a full set of plans and a permit in hand.
Got it.
So a lot of times when we're doing what we call a spec build, right? We're just going to buy a piece of land, build a home, and sell it. We like the projects that already have plan and permit, because that part of the process could take up to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're looking for investment properties, so to speak, properties we're going to build on and sell it, we like the ones that are further along in the process. And that's another good point. On those types of projects, we allow investor participation. So therefore, I would find an investor, they would help me buy the lot and plans. Then we would build the home, sell it, and we would split probably 20 to 30% of the profit with that investor for participating.
Okay, got it. So if somebody's looking to build a custom home, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
If they want to meet with our team and have a free sit-down complimentary exploration meeting.
And your office is beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, we call it our office/showroom.
I could see that.
We have all the selections right there in-house, the tiles, the floorings, the doorknobs, pretty much anything you can imagine.
Those blue chairs stood out to me. In your boardroom.
Well, that was the interior designer picked those out.
You have a great designer.
Yeah, thank you.
So what's the best way for them to reach out?
Literally call me, call the office or call my cell phone directly, and we'll set a time. At minimum, it would be me, one of my project managers and interior designer would be in that first meeting.
Perfect. All right. And then if you guys are like, hey, I can't remember who was on the show, but it was this custom builder. He had a lot of great information. Just reach out to us on madeformorerealty.com. We'll make sure everybody gets connected. And when we come back, we will be talking about, so the first half, we were talking about how you help people build custom homes. The second half, we're talking about how people can actually invest on builds and projects you're working on.
So you may believe you have the nicest, best, most pristine, attractive home in the entire neighborhood. As soon as you put that for sale sign in the yard, offers are just going to be pouring in. People are going to be busting through your door to give you an offer on your home. But then it goes live, and what happened? No offers. It's crickets. Well, that's because it matters who you work with. Like, for instance, I have someone in my neighborhood, their home has been on the market for at least 3 months, and it's still sitting there without any offers. Again, it matters who you work with. That's why Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty, why they've been so successful with so many of our listeners, why they were voted #1 team in Roseville for 3 years in a row, why they've got over 1,000 5-star Google reviews. Go check them out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. The proof is in the reviews. And so if you're interested in how Johnny Jennings and Made for More Realty can help you sell your home fast and for the most amount possible, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. Find out how you can get at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. Again, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
So we are back with Paul Bianchi with Bianchi Tillett Developers. And on the first half of the show, we were talking about how you help people build custom homes. Now I'd kind of like to pivot a bit and discuss how your company invests and does development projects. So what is it your company is like first of all, you said you do spec builds. Like you mentioned the project in San Francisco. About how many spec build projects are you focusing on right now?
You know, I would say as a company, about half of our business, we're building homes for clients.
Okay.
Clients come to us, ask us to build them a home. The other 50% of our business is building spec homes. And that could mean multiple units or just one unit, like the San Francisco project. But we specialize in small infill subdivisions, so we'll buy anywhere from 5 to 15 acres of land. We'll get that approved for roads and utilities and a certain amount of lots. And then we'll get the plans approved and we'll build those homes. So for instance, right now we have a really nice project in West Roseville. It's 9 lots called Brady Estates. And what's unique about this project is the lots are all half acre in size.
Wow.
So we have homes already designed, approved to be built around the 3,000 square foot range. And because the lots are big enough, every lot can support an ADU. And ADUs are very important in these days. People like to have that in their backyard for family members.
Oh, they're so great. Whether you want a family member, whether you want to rent it out to somebody, like multi-generational, there's just so many. You know, you have that college kid that won't launch. You know, there's so many uses for it.
Oh, absolutely. And that is a good point as well, is a lot of people like to Airbnb those ADUs and darn near pay their household mortgage.
Yes. I was on Airbnb the other day with my wife, Valerie, and we were just trying to figure out some place to go. I was like, oh my gosh. Like we were looking like outside of the region. I was like, Val, let's just see what we can Airbnb get here locally. And for like, you know, $1,100 a night, $1,200 a night, these nice places. And that's just one night. You got 30 nights you can rent that sucker out.
Yeah, absolutely. Liz, my fiance, is a bit of an Airbnb enthusiast. She's one of the super hosts, I think they call them.
Yep.
And so she does that just as a side gig, and she does quite well doing Airbnbs.
So you're developing these lots, you know, but you're also open to investors, right? Coming in and partnering with you on these deals.
Yes, absolutely.
So what does that typically look like? Like how does somebody come and say, hey, Paul, I'd like to partner with you on a project?
Sure. So we have a list of projects where we've either already purchased the land or we're already in contract escrow to buy the land. That's when I share it with my investor network, so to speak. Basically, they come in, they'll commit an X amount of money to help me buy the land or close on the construction loan. But once they put in their money, then I build everything with the construction lender.
Okay.
Once the project is complete, we sell the project. And we are very transparent on the project throughout the build. The investor has their own login to our software system that gives them insight to every contract, every photo, everything for that job site.
Similar to the custom home design?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then once the home is built, we will generally share 30% of the profits of that project with the investor that helped us buy the land.
Wow. So what's a reasonable rate of return for somebody investing with you?
So the profits on a project can be quite high, especially in some of the Bay Area projects we're currently doing. I would say an investor can expect anywhere from 15 to 25% ROI on their investment.
Okay, 15, 25. What was it? Off there we were talking about how, you know, people are lucky if they're getting 3% in their savings account and a hopeful 10% in the stock market. You know? Yeah,
absolutely. So I meet a lot of investors that have a fair amount of money just in the regular savings account because it's federally insured. But you know how that works. They're making anywhere from 1 to 3% return on their money.
Yep. And
then I have a lot of investors that are in the stock market, right? And they'll have it all spread out in different funds and different stocks. And we all know you hope to make 10% return on your money in the stock market, but you also could wake up and the stocks went down by 50% any given day.
You can't really control that.
No. And so I like to say, it's real estate. It's not going to drop by 50%. You invest in real estate, and then a company like ours improves that real estate by building a beautiful home on it and then sells it. There's built-in profit any way you look at it. I don't care what the economy says, what the interest rates are. We've just generated profit off that real estate.
That makes sense. You improved a product, the land to a custom home or a spec home. And then so you said 15 to 25%. About how long does it take when somebody invests with you for them to, get that money back?
Yeah, good question. So we target 12 months or less. That's our goal. We like to get into projects, again, that are already ready to be built. We have a schedule. We can build a home, depending on how big it is, anywhere from 5 months for the smaller homes, all the way up to 10 or 11 months for the bigger homes.
Okay. And then once the entire project is sold out, is that then when the project is closed, is that when they get paid, or are there milestones along the way?
So if it's a single home, like some of our Bay Area projects, it's when that home is sold, the investor gets paid out. Same as me, as the builder. I don't make $1 till I sell a home, right? So that's when the investor gets paid out. If it's a smaller subdivision, like we'd like to do the infill subdivisions, it's every time a home is sold on that project, they get part of their payout.
Okay, so it's not all or nothing. It's, there's some milestones along the way.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And if somebody wanted to reach, are these credited, non-accredited? How does this work in terms of who can invest with you?
Both. We're not a public company. We're allowed to let friends and families, acquaintances, which is a lot of our investors. But I have some bigger brokers that like to bring their portfolio of investors, and they're trying to help their investors grow their portfolio. They'll bring them to me, and we'll get them signed up on one of our projects as well.
Okay. And then what's the best way if somebody's thinking about investing with you? What would be a good way to start that conversation?
Literally reach out to me personally. I like to be involved with the investors from start to finish. I like them to understand the process, see it from my view, visit the job site with me if they feel like it. I usually like to log them into our software program so they can see how they're going to have visualization of the project. But quite frankly, it's just text or call me, and I'd be happy to meet with them.
Okay. When you say log into the software, I think about clients that I have who are like, I don't even want to log into Zillow, let alone how easy is it for them to access the software and like have the visibility that you're describing?
It's pretty easy. We just need their email address, and Janelle in my office will send them a login. They'll create their own password, and then they'll have visibility on everything for that project. But I hear you saying that a lot of our investors never log in.
Oh, right? Really?
So what we also do in addition is the project manager for each project. Every 30 days, usually the first week of the month, he'll put out a recap of all the progress that's happened the prior month, expectations of the current month, along with some photos. So if they can just read an email once in a month, they'll be fairly caught up.
That's perfect. So it's like, hey, here's your monthly update. For the people who are like want to be more involved, want to see the process, they can log into the portal.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. And then when Tom Davis and I met with you a while back, you had this Excel spreadsheet of all these projects in different developments, in different phases, and the expected return. So if somebody's looking to invest with you, they don't necessarily have to just partner on one deal. They can. It's almost like a menu. Like, hey, can I do that one? Like, is that how that works, or?
It absolutely can be. So yeah, some of our bigger investors, they might put X amount of dollars on one project, another amount of dollars on a second project. Yeah, well, and that's a good point. When I meet with a potential investor, usually they'll come to our office / showroom, sit right there in the conference room. I'll pull that spreadsheet up on the big screen, and we'll just walk through the projects. And on that spreadsheet, I have links, and we'll just click on the links. It'll show them pictures, plans, site views, so they'll really understand the project from start to finish prior to jumping in.
I like that. That goes back to what you were saying earlier about building a custom home. Do some research up front. Make sure the design is correct up front. It seems like you're taking a similar approach with the investors. Hey, make sure you're doing your research. Make sure that this investment vehicle makes sense for you before we decide to, move forward. What's the? Sorry, I'm peppering you with questions. I have so many questions about this investment stuff. What's like a good minimum? Like if somebody says, "Hey, I have $500," you're probably, this might not be a good fit. How much should they expect to invest in order to be able to partner with you?
So usually when we're working with an investor, we like an investor that can help us, buy the whole piece of land, so to speak.
Okay.
Because after that, I can get construction lending to build out the project. But we take minimum investments of $100,000. We've had some investors invest up to $2 million on projects.
Okay. And then that'd be a good question too. Like, what's the range in terms of the scope? Because some of these, like the 9 lots in West Roseville, that's more than $2 million, I would imagine, for the build.
Yeah, and so on that one, actually, our goal was to raise $2 million, and we did raise it in increments of anything from $100,000 to $350,000.
Okay,
and there's actually still room on that particular project if anybody wants to jump in.
There you go. So just reach out to Paul Bianchi, or you can go to madeformorerealty.com. Say, who was that? I want to invest in real estate. And this is cool too, because you're investing with a pro. This isn't like you're on LoopNet trying to find a good deal and then swinging the hammer or trying to find contractors. Like 15 to 25% seems like a pretty good return for just some mailbox money, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of it too. We have a well-seasoned, experienced team to take that project from start to finish in a reasonable amount of time.
Awesome. Well, hey, is there anything I haven't covered, any questions I haven't asked that you think, hey, this would be really important for your listeners to hear?
Possibly just that if they're a client that wants us to build a home for them, I explained to them that quite often, by the time we're done with the home, they're going to have a good amount of equity in that home already.
Oh.
It's going to cost them less than if they would have went down the street and bought a 100% completed home, right? Those homes are full retail value. When we build them a home, we're building them at some, wholesale value. So it's always better to build from start to finish with a qualified contractor and think about buying completed homes as a secondary.
Oh gosh, I never thought about that. That's a really good point. All right. So Paul Bianchi with Bianchi Tillett Developers. Thank you so much for being on the show today. It was a pleasure, learning more about your business.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me, Johnny.
You're welcome.
If you're anything like me, you are worn out. Life is just so tiring. You've got so much on your plate. Your schedule is full. You don't have time to do open houses and showings and doing those repairs on your home to get it ready for sale. That's why our friend Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty, he's got this special offer for you. Not one, not two, but at least 3 cash offers on your home. And listen to this, it's an as-is condition. So that's right, no need to do organizing, no need to do open houses or staging or any of those costly repairs. He'll get you at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. So you can be done, simple, easy, quick. So what do? You just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. He's got a great team that's going to help you every single step of the way. That's why they have so many great reviews. In fact, they have a 5-star Google rating with over 1,000 reviews. So go check them out. It'll be well worth your time. Again, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty, Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty, and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
So on the show today, normally it's Matt.
Yes.
Matt Bijou, but today we have his partner in crime, Mike.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, Matt sets the bar really, really high, so I'm going to try to be as fun as Matt.
Okay, yeah, he's a goofball. Love that guy. But so we were talking before we hit go, and you. How does this even work, Mike? You're in a relationship.
I am. Yep.
And you're not engaged.
Nope.
But you have an engagement date.
Well, I'm a planner. This is the thing. So I have the date because I'm trying to coordinate with some friends of mine that I know are photographers so that we can have like professional pictures and video taken at the same time. And I needed to get on their schedule. And so this was a date that I feel like is far enough out that I will be able to get everything done.
Okay. So it's not like you and your girlfriend have picked this date.
No.
So she doesn't know.
No.
Got it. Okay. I was like laughing. I thought you would both come to an agreement on the day you were going to propose.
No. She has no idea. I'm hoping it stays that way, obviously, because I don't have a ring or anything yet. So I still have a lot that I need to get to. But yeah, I want it to be a surprise.
Have you guys gone ring shopping together?
No. She has shown me some rings in general that she kind of likes.
Yeah.
Which is great. And I've shown her some rings that I'm kind of interested in as well, but we've not gone ring shopping. I have, without her, I've been scrolling on different companies' websites looking for stuff.
So, man, people, there are some guys out there who just buy the ring and they're like, here you go. I just could not do that.
No.
It was not me at all. I saw like, Valerie, here's what I was thinking. What were you thinking? She showed me what she was thinking. Then we went out and...
I've heard some people do like... I have a friend who he's like, I got accidentally engaged. And I was like, let's hear
about that.
Yeah.
I can hear accidentally pregnant, but like accidentally engaged. Let's hear
exactly.
that.
So I guess he was out in San Francisco with his girlfriend and she's like, let's just look at rings. And when they went in, all of a sudden there's a down payment on a ring and she's walking out and he's like, so I guess that I'm engaged. I guess this is...
She just picked it out.
She just picked it out.
It wasn't like a discovery session. It was like, nope, we're doing this.
And so he was accidentally engaged, but he said for his current wife, that was an ex-girlfriend. He's like, she just wouldn't go away. We did that. And then like we broke up and then we were back together. It's like, but for my current wife, I had to give back the engagement ring that I got from my previous.
Because she didn't like it?
Well, so no, it was from the previous ex.
Oh, he was trying to recycle.
He's like, I'm going to take it in. And then he got her a really cheap kind of a ring to propose with. And then like, now let's go pick the ring that's going to be our ring.
Yeah.
And so that's something else that I've heard people do. But I feel like I feel like there should be some element of creativity of what it is that you're getting. Like, get an idea of what your girlfriend likes. For example, I know that my girlfriend, her big thing is she wants an engagement ring with a wedding band that she calls it cuddles with that. So it goes around the diamond or whatever. It's like, cool, I can figure this out from there and look at different ones. But she's like, I don't know how I want the diamond cut. I was like, I feel like that's not true. I don't know a single girl in the world that has not thought about how they want their diamond cut.
A square? Do I want yeah.
But anyways, it's been a fun experience kind of looking through different things. And I know that we have a mutual friend that she's shared stuff with. So it's like, okay, got to get with the friend and we'll go go ring shopping and do that.
Valerie picked out the metal type. In all fairness, I would say I found it. And then I just was like, hey, do you like this? And she was like, I could tell by her reaction that it was perfect. And then I just picked the diamond size.
Anything from you would have been perfect, Johnny.
That's true. That's true. Yep. It could have been a piece of duct tape wrapped around. Yeah. But anyways, what this has to do with real estate is she has a house, you have a house.
Correct.
What to do now? Does it make sense to turn one of the houses into an investment or sell it? That's kind of what you were asking me.
Yeah, because that's a big thing. Like I bought my house 12 years ago. I have the lower interest rate. We owe less on it, but we're going to live in her house because it's a new build. It's just nicer. She has solar, so I love that we can have the air conditioner on. I don't do the AC at my house very much because I'm cheap. But yeah, looking forward and planning.
You're saving for a ring, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Rings are expensive.
They are.
But looking at that, what are the better options for that? Is it just renting it out or just selling it and taking the equity from my house and using that to pay down her loan on her house? Because I don't even know like the tax implications of that. Like, do you have to pay
capital gains?
That's the one.
Yeah. So let's take this a piece at a time. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to figure out what your house would rent for and compare that against what your monthly costs are. So if you have landscape front and backyard, I would recommend you pay to have a landscaper.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Continue to do that. Wouldn't expect the tenants to do that. How much is a property manager going to cost? There are people out there that'll do it for a low flat fee. There are people that do it for a percentage of the rents. And so figure out what all those numbers look like, and does it make sense for you is there enough there for you to have at least some cash flow and then cover also reserves? So like they're going to move out. I was just talking with a guy and he said that he had this rental property. The tenants lived in it for 25 years. They raised a family there.
Wow.
And then one of the kids went off to school, became a doctor, and then approached him, the landlord, and said, hey, I'd like to buy this house for my parents. And so he ended up selling them the house that they've been living in for 25 years. That's a rare situation.
Yeah.
Normally they're going to be moving out every year, every couple of years, and so you got to factor in what are your expenses while the unit is vacant. What's it going to cost to flip the unit? Paint, carpet, any updates.
Oh, in between people.
Yeah, and just build that all out. A good property manager can help you with that. But then once you have a budget, make sure they're realistic on rent. Don't stretch it. Don't say, oh, in a perfect world I can get this much, and then you end up getting less, and then your budget's blown.
Yeah.
So make sure they're realistic on budget and doesn't make sense. So for Valerie and I, we sold all of our properties when we moved up here. At the time, it made perfect sense. But now that our legs are underneath us, the business is more stable, we wish we still had those.
Yeah.
Everybody that I talked to who has ever owned a property wishes they would have hung on to it. So that's my take. If the numbers are there, even if it's just a few $100 a month, like you're not like getting rich, my personal take would be keep it as an investment property and let the tenants pay that one off, and then focus. Now you have two incomes, pay down the house you're living in.
So you mentioned the property manager. What are the benefits of having a property manager versus just doing it on your own, especially because it's just one house as opposed to, multiple properties?
Yeah. So again, I can only really, I always just lean back on my own experience. And you don't know what you don't know. Do you have good contractors? Can they get out there quickly? Do you know the laws regarding being a landlord and having a tenant? Do you know how to evict somebody quickly if it comes to that? How are you going to fill the vacancy? How are you going to screen the tenant? Mm-hmm. There's all these different steps that come into play. Yes, technically you might make some more money if you do it yourself, if you DIY it, but you also might lose more money because you don't know what you don't know. If you had been doing this for a while, so Valerie and I, we started out with a property management company. And then, because we were in a town that had one, and then we moved to another town, we hired the local property management company. We actually filled the vacancy in one of our units before they could even be bothered to put a sign in the yard.
Wow.
And they were the only game in town. So it's not like we did a bunch of interviews and picked a dud. They were the only option at that time. And so then we fell into managing it ourselves. And one of the units, it was a triplex. We lived in one of the units, shared a wall with our tenants.
Okay.
Right. And it just makes it a little bit more complicated. You're walking in to open up your door and they're standing right there,
Hey, landlord, I need this.
Hey, landlord, I need this. Or it's like, hey, tenant, pay me my rent. Personally, I would never manage my own units. What if you're on vacation? Like it's just you're wanting to finally unplug from work, and then all of a sudden there's an issue with the unit. Like without fail, we were hosting Thanksgiving one time. While we were hosting Thanksgiving, family had come from out of town. In fact, looking back, it was the only time the family ever visited us in Coalinga, and we had to put everything on pause because I can't remember if it was the water heater or the toilet. Something was going down with the unit next door. Right, I couldn't just call a property manager and have them handle it. So that's as far as property management goes. And then you also mentioned taxes.
Yeah, like if I were to sell my house, take the equity, and make a big payment towards my future wife's house when we're the one that we're living in together.
As far as the taxes go on that, depends on how you're filing your taxes. When would you be selling the house? I guess is the question. Would you be selling it before or after you guys are married?
We won't move in until we are married. So I'd be living in my house till we were married. And so it'd be after we were married and then selling it.
Okay. So the reason why I ask is if you are filing single, you can claim up to $250,000. And if it's been your residence too, disclaimer, I'm not a CPA, check with your tax professional. This is my understanding as a real estate agent, what the rules are. But if you are single, it's been your primary residence 2 out of the last 5 years, you can claim up to $250,000 in profit. Not purchase price, but in profit on the property. And not have to pay those long-term capital gains tax.
So just simple math, $250,000 in equity on a $500,000 sale, then theoretically I should be able to keep, there's not the capital gains tax on that.
Correct, because you also have to factor in your expenses, right? There's title, escrow, realtor fees, any concessions that come up during that process. And if you're married filing jointly, you can claim up to $500,000 in profit.
So there you go. So if you have more equity, wait until you're married and then.
Exactly. That's why I was asking. I wasn't sure what the timeline was. But again, it costs roughly 8 to 12% of the purchase price, 8 to 10% of the purchase price just to sell a house. Like if you go to sell a car or buy a car, you're like, okay, this is the cost of the car. Then all of a sudden you have all these different fees that the state layers on and that the dealer or whoever layers on. And you're like, oh, I wasn't counting on those, right?
They always get you with the taxes and fees.
They always get you. And same thing with selling a house, right? And so you always got to factor in about 8 to 10% of whatever the purchase price is going to be is how much you're going to have to shave off in that sale.
Okay.
So again, using your $500,000 purchase price example, just imagine $50,000 going towards fees. So that's how it would work. So, I mean, what you're asking is normal. Most people have to kind of walk through this process, and that's something that we help people with. So oftentimes people who are buying another home, and selling their home want to buy another home. And so they have to walk through, do I keep this as a rental? Can I do a buy before I sell? What does that look like? And so we'll sit people down, create a custom game plan specific to them. Just say, here are your different options. I literally sat down with somebody the other night and said, hey, here are your different options. One of them is a cash out refi. They're going through a divorce. And so one of them, like a very reasonable option, is not even using my services. Like I'm not getting paid if he does a cash out refi, but I know a great lender that can help you with that and that can get it done quickly.
Yeah.
He was interested in speed. And so that's what we do. So whether or not we're going to make a dime on the process, we like to sit people down and make sure that they understand all their options so they can pick the best one for them. So if you want to learn more about your options, if you want to have a sit down with us, just go to madeformorerealty.com, madeformorerealty.com, and we'd be happy to help.
So you may believe you have the nicest, best, most pristine, attractive home in the entire neighborhood. As soon as you put that for sale sign in the yard, offers are just going to be pouring in. People are going to be busting through your door to give you an offer on your home. But then it goes live, and what happened? No offers. It's crickets. Well, that's because it matters who you work with. Like, for instance, I have someone in my neighborhood, their home has been on the market for at least 3 months and it's still sitting there without any offers. Again, it matters who you work with. That's why Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty, why they've been so successful with so many of our listeners, why they were voted #1 team in Roseville for 3 years in a row, why they've got over 1,000 5-star Google reviews. Go check them out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. The proof is in the reviews. And so if you're interested in how Johnny Jennings and Made for More Realty can help you sell your home fast and for the most amount possible, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. Find out how you can get at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. Again, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
So we were back with Mike Wilson, not to be confused with Matt Bijou.
No, he's way cooler than me. He's got family and kids and all that good stuff.
Family and kids. Hey, you're working on it.
I am working on it, and I'm excited to have a family one day.
Am I going to get an invite to the wedding?
Well, you know, that's the.
I'm putting you on the spot right now.
No. I was going to say Becky actually wants to do a big wedding, so there'll be. I think there'll be space. She's like 200 or 250, which seems
that is large, dude.
Huge. Yeah, because what is it? I was actually talking to Matt about it. He's like, "Don't do it. Do something small. It's too many people." So
okay, I take back everything I said about renting a property. You're going to have to sell that house and pay for the wedding.
Right? I know that is something that because this is all new for me, obviously. And it is an interesting process of just like looking up wedding venues and realizing all of the costs associated with it. I don't know how people get married. Like, how do you not just go to the courthouse or go to Vegas? Because if you actually do a wedding, it is crazy, stupid expensive. Like you need to take a second out on your house just to do it and
to make it happen.
If you don't, you have a loan. Like you have your student loans and your marriage loan or your wedding loan. Like you can never get
you
a
got
house.
The wife loan. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But you know, it's an exciting phase of life. You know,
it is.
We deal with a lot of older clients and they're in a different phase of life, and it's not quite as fun or exciting. Like for example, I went to this appointment and I walk up. Knock on the door. Actually, I didn't even knock on the door. I'm walking up the walkway and he opens the door and he goes, "Can I help you?" I goes, "Yeah, hi, my name's Johnny. I'm here for 2:00. And he goes, "Johnny who?" I'm a real estate, broker. I came by to help you kind of figure out what your house is worth and go over some options. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's great. I really want to know what my house is worth. Come on in." And I'm thinking, okay, that was a little weird, but some people are just different.
Yeah.
And so as we start walking through the house, with each passing minute, it becomes blatantly obvious to me that this guy should probably not be living alone. He's living alone by himself in a 2-story house. I started hearing the same stories over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
One of them was, he asked me, he's like, "Johnny, do you know what the blue curbs are? You know when you're in a parking lot or driving around, do you know about the blue curbs?" And I'm like, the handicap parking? And he's like, "Yeah. How did you know that?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
That's part of the test, man.
Like, why are we talking about blue curbs? Come to find out, he went to the DMV to take his driver's test and he didn't pass.
Oh man.
And that was one of the questions that got him. And so here's this gentleman living alone and telling me about how he's driven around and gotten lost. Telling me about how he's now lost his driver's license. And he's like, "Well, they can't catch me." And then tell me about how he lost his keys. Turns out somebody took his keys or he lost them. He doesn't know. And it's just really heartbreaking. And so what I was able to do, I was able to get him in contact with a senior care specialist that can provide solutions for him, and really take care. There's this thing I didn't even know about. Like we've heard of I heard growing up like CPS, Child Protective Services. Yeah. Like whenever we were in a public place and my dad just tell me to do something I didn't want to do, I'd start shouting, "Somebody call CPS!"
He's making me eat my broccoli.
He's child abuse, And I thought it was funny. He didn't think it was funny. But there's Adult Protective Services, for people like that who need help. And so she might even get him in contact with that. But the reason why I'm saying all this is, when you buy a house or when you're entering into that phase of life, just make sure that you have like a trust in place and you have people around you that can support you in that. And these senior care specialists, like the one that we'd refer you to, sometimes she works with people 5, 7, 10 years out from before they actually need it. But she'll show them the facilities. She'll help them get a plan in place, because sometimes what happens is all it takes is one fall. Like he told me he was born in 1940, and he said he's almost 80 years old. Well, I'm no math genius. But
math ain't mathin'.
But that's not mathin', right? That's he's 85, but he doesn't even know his correct age. And he's living in a multi-story home. And all it takes is one fall. All the bedrooms, everything are upstairs.
Yeah.
So he would go to a hospital. They would not let him go home because it's not safe to live by himself. And now he's scrambling to figure out where he's going to go. And he can't even remember what happened yesterday. How is he going to figure that out while in a hospital? Stressed. Nobody, like, there's just so much there. So if you know somebody that's could benefit from those services, please just reach out to us. It doesn't cost a thing. That's what's great about these companies is they don't charge you.
Well, in his situation, where I would assume he's been in the house for a while. If he's 80, he's probably not recently moved. I would imagine that there's got to be some way for him to be able to take the equity or the proceeds from that house to be able to cover the costs of living in maybe a senior care facility or someone with memory care and different things like that.
There is, but a lot of those people do not want to do that. For whatever reason, it's their nest egg. Like another woman, healthy, super healthy woman, she's just wanted to plan, like exactly what I'm describing.
Yeah.
And then I said, hey, you know what? If you're concerned about these things, like if you think you might be losing your memory, and if you're worried about living in a multi-story home, reach out to my contact and she'll help you. So I connected them. My senior care specialist called me up and said, hey, Johnny, that was a weird call. She did not, we talked a little bit and then she just backed off. She said, hey, I hope I just die. I hope one day I just stroke out or have a heart attack. I don't want to think about this. I don't want to get a trust in place. I don't want to have any power of attorneys. I just don't even want to think about it. So hopefully I'll just die randomly one day. And that's a little bit extreme, but that's also how a lot of people kind of operate. And so when I tell them, hey, you have, because he bought the house cash, you have hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity. You don't have to worry about making your food anymore. You don't have to worry about driving to the grocery store on your non-existent license. Right? Like, this is a better situation. That for them to make that leap is sometimes hard. Like, financially, it pencils out, but for some people, they just don't want to do it.
Well, I remember, like, the reason why I'm in the house that I'm in is because my grandparents originally bought it because they were in a tri-level, and my grandpa he couldn't walk. He was falling all the time, and they needed a single story. And then they ended up not moving in. My grandma was very hesitant. They both were, and they ended up having to move in with my uncle to help cover because my grandma was losing her mind and my grandpa was falling so much. And so it's hard to see that happen and to be able to have those conversations, because my grandma till the very end was like, nope, I need to have my house. I need to live on my own. But you talked about your friend, but you keep mentioning the trust. What are some of the benefits of the trust and how that can help people that you've been describing?
So it's really just something that saves a lot of money. So for people who are cost conscious, wanting to protect that equity, it saves them a lot of money because it keeps you out of probate. In California, the average probate cost is about $30,000.
Oh my gosh!
Average trust cost is $2,000. So what it does is it keeps you out of probate, and it gives the family, or it gives the trust, control over what happens in those situations. Who's selling the house? Who gets to benefit from the estate? Who's the executor? Who's the power of attorney? Like, it's just basically a roadmap for everything that person has and how that is to be divided and who is to oversee that. If you don't have that in place, there's no plan. It's like trying to figure out how to drive from here to New York without a GPS or a map.
Just get on 80.
Just figure it out. Yeah. Just get on 80. Stop when you see water, But that's basically what the benefit is.
Well, something that I think is it's cool that when clients come to you is that you give them, you're not just like, well, I'm only here to sell or buy your house. It's like, let me connect you with people that can put you in the best situation for you, because that's so important. And I feel like that's such an important thing when it comes to, if I'm asking someone to buy a house or to sell my house, it's like, I want to be able to trust that you're actually looking out for me.
Yep.
And it's like, this is an industry you have to have trust. Because when was the last time I read the terms of service when I got a new iPhone that's only like a couple scrolls long, let alone the
The stack of papers.
Yeah.
Yeah. How good are you if you do something once or twice a year? So for those realtors that do onesie twosies once or twice a year, how good is a person if they like? Would you really want to go to a heart surgeon who's like, yeah, I did 2 surgeries last year? Yeah. Even if you've bought and sold 3 or 4 houses and you're 60 years old, like, what if you only drove 3 or 4 times in the last 60 years? Like, how good would you really be? It really does come down to a whole picture. Like if you look at my notes for the gentleman who had some health issues, you'll notice they start off like information about the flooring, about the kitchen and the bathrooms, about reasons why he likes the location. And then all of a sudden, that's just a part of the form. And the rest of the form is filled up with, oh my gosh, here's what he said. Here's some health issues. Here's his, it turned into less about the home and more about the person.
Yeah.
Because I instantly realized, man, if this was my dad or if this was my grandpa, like this guy needs some help, And so within 5 minutes of leaving the place, I had him connected with some people that could help him. So really, if you don't trust your realtor, if you don't think they're doing a good job, if you don't think that they're experienced enough, then honestly, do yourself and the realtor a favor and fire them. Because what's so painful is when you hire me for my expertise and you ask me, hey, what are the inspections I should have done on a property? And then I tell you, and then you tell me, no, I'm not going to do that. It's like kind of going to the doctor and them saying, hey, you need to lose some weight. And you just say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll figure out another way to avoid a heart attack.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay, good luck, dude. The bill always comes due, regardless of how long or how short. Eventually the bill comes due. And so either you partner with a real estate agent who can help you navigate that system, or the bill's going to come due and you're going to pay it with a cheap realtor who your cousin knew twice removed and sold a house in 1985.
And all of a sudden you didn't get the right inspections or whatever.
Yes.
Done, and it's just not, and then that's a hard cost on the end. So
it is.
So how do people get a hold of you?
Best way, absolute best way, hop on this new thing. It's called Google. Just go on Google and you type in Made for More Realty. Just do a quick Google search. You'll see us pop up. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews, the most in the area. We sell a lot of homes. We help a lot of people and we'd love to help you. So just go to madeformorerealty.com. We'll see you there.